much news. Whole damn world has got the blues. Seems like we're out the door. Common sense you can't find no more. And I guess we're gonna need somebody with a master plan. Guess we're gonna need somebody.
Hey, good evening. On the Robert Jeter Show, News and the Blues. Little tunes saying too much news. Gonna need somebody. That's for sure, man. We all tired of listening to the news, and it's pretty depressing. I must admit, it's pretty depressing. So what are we gonna talk about today? I don't really know for sure. It could be anything, you know. We could talk about the weather. We could talk about the sports. We could talk about trivial stuff, movies, art, books, you know, whatever you fancy, whatever I fancy, really, because it's my podcast, right? Usually I talk politics. I said news and the blues and play a little music in between, you know. I'm coming from you. I'm coming to you. I got to get my pronouns right. I'm coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Direct, off the cuff, unedited. It's raw, it's plain, and I try to be truthful, you know. I try to, as I see it anyway. I mean, you can disagree. Of course, a lot of people disagree with me, but a lot of people agree with me as well, I'm sure. In that I am conservative. I believe in the red, white, and blue. I'm traditional, so I believe in God and country. And, you know, the rights of the family. You know, I'm anti-woke. I'm anti-communist, anti-Marxist, anti-climate change. You know what I'm saying, right? And this seems like you have to repeat yourself all the time. And this is why I'm doing a podcast, just to keep me sane, keep me from going insane, because there's so much fake news out there, so much negative news out there, so much against God and country and tradition. And so you have to stay strong, and you have to keep telling yourself, keep the faith. Just keep the faith, because we live in a very absurd world. You know, it's absurd that we got this far in the culture. It's amazing. I mean, amazing is not the right word. I don't even know if there's a good word for it. It's shocking, for one thing. It's very painful, another thing. But hopefully where you are and where is safe and you are secure, all you can do is keep the faith, like I said, pray a lot, and do whatever you do the best you can, and help people. Try to be nice, you know. It's all about love and not hate. There's too much hate in the world. And a lot of it comes from, sorry, I got a little indigestion. A lot of it comes from, I'm still eating turkey. Did you have a good turkey Thanksgiving, by the way? I did. In fact, I'm still eating my turkey. Sometimes it's hard going down, but it's very tasty, I must admit. I still have some soup, turkey soup, too, come to think of it. But anyway, I digress. What was I talking about? How messed up the world is, how absurd it is. And what can we do about it? Well, you know, unless you have some kind of power, you know, you just a common Joe like me, all you can do is to speak up when you can, when you think it's appropriate. That's why I have this podcast. Another reason I have this podcast, not only for my sanity, but just to speak up for the truth as I see it, and for all reasonable men, because I think in the United States, that most of the people, I really still believe, even though you got all these crazies coming through the border all the time, I believe most of the people, a great majority of the people are sane and reasonable and more or less traditional. I more or less believe in God and country. I mean, I know among the young, there's a problem because they've all been educated by Marxists. At least a lot of them have. And, you know, they bought into this victimhood in America is bad. And, you know, it can't do any good. And, you know, we need to change everything, you know. And, you know, they call for cultural revolution, and they have all these phrases they use, like woke and social justice and equity and all that kind of stuff. But it's been put in their heads. It's been put in their heads by people in their universities, by the politicians. I mean, it's been here around. Well, communism, Marxism, that whole philosophy. I was going to say theology, but I don't believe in God, do they? That whole philosophy has been around a long time. Ever since Marx and Engels, those guys, how many people did they kill? But anyway, it became more popular in our country with Obama, really, because a lot of people saw Obama as a savior, but he's a savior for the Marxists. He's a savior for the communists. He's a savior for the world, the new world order that wants to control everything and make everybody equal, because they feel like they got a bad shake. You know what I mean? If you're black, they feel like, well, I'm still living on the plantation, which is not true at all. A black man has more rights now than a white man, it seems like, because all the companies are bending over backwards to please the black folk and the minorities, except for if you're a Jew. Now, if you're a Jew, it's a different case. They always get the short end of the straw. I don't know. It's over 3,000 years of history. I'm not getting into that tonight, but victimhood, I don't like people playing the victim card because it gives them a bad attitude. It's like you go to a store where a certain person works behind the counter. It could be the post office. It could be in a government building or whatever, and they give you an attitude. It's like, yeah, I don't have to really help you. You know what I mean? I got an attitude. I deserve a lot, and I don't need to take anything from you. So it's all about taking. It's not about giving. And, that famous phrase said by John Kennedy, like not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I mean, that's a great phrase. I'm paraphrasing it. But basically, you have to be a giver and not a taker, because what you get back is what you give in the end. I think it was in a Beatles song that said that. But, it's all about giving. Whatever you can do to give and to be nice. I know that good stuff, you know what I mean? Think positive. But that's all I got to say. Think positive. I don't know, play a little more music maybe? I don't know.
Unchain my heart.
Oh, this is one I did recently. It's an old tune. A cover I did. Unchain My Heart.
'Cause you don't care.
Hope you enjoy it.
Set me free. Unchain my heart.
From the Madness.
Let me go. Unchain my heart. 'Cause you don't love me no more. You got me sewed up like a pillowcase. You let my poor heart go to waste. Unchain my heart, baby. Set me free. Unchain my heart. Baby, let me be. Unchain my heart. 'Cause you don't worry about me. When I call you on the phone, some fella says you are not at home. Unchain my heart, baby. Set me free. Well, I'm under your spell, like a man in a trance. I know damn well I don't stand a chance. Unchain my heart. Let me go away.
Oh yeah, let me go away.
Unchain my heart.
Yeah, I'd like to go away and come back to the world like it was maybe back in the late 50s, early 60s, before it got crazy. I mean, I was around in the 60s. I'm not old, I'm a pretty old guy. But it seemed like after the war, people were grateful. They had won the war. They went through a lot of hardship, did a lot of sacrifice. And they were grateful for what they had. They were grateful for the country. And they were victorious. And they were thanking God a lot. They went to the church a lot, or the synagogue a lot. But today, we've lost that feeling of gratefulness, I guess we get fat and happy. You know what I mean? We start complaining, and in the culture, and it's just a story of history. You know, you get fat and happy, and then you start doing stuff you shouldn't be doing, and start thinking things you shouldn't be thinking, and lo and behold, you have plague and wars and hate and disaster like we have it now. It's the same old song, nothing new under the sun, right? But anyway, I just want to get back a few more minutes. I'm not going to stay long tonight. I never stay too long on the air because people get bored, you know, if you stay too long. You know, you just want to give them a little touch of what you'd be thinking, a little touch of music, a little touch of, you know, of whatever you're thinking. Hopefully you can do some good, you know, just throwing out the positive vibes, man, throwing out the positive vibes. So I'm just basically a news channel, even though I'm throwing my songs with it as well. But since it's news, what else can we talk about? It's happening current. I mean, today, I didn't watch a lot of news because I do other stuff. You know, it's not like I'm always watching the news. But the news story today was Musk. Musk was in Israel. It seemed like Musk got in trouble on his X site, his Twitter. You don't call it Twitter anymore, right? His X platform for something anti-Semitic, he said. I think somebody said something about anti-Semitic, about maybe Jews don't like white men or something, and he said, yeah, maybe that's true, which was anti-Semitic, and he got a lot of slack from it, and I think he lost some sponsors and stuff, so he had to go to Israel to make up for it. But I mean, I don't see Elon Musk as anti-Semitic. I mean, he's like a lot of folks who are not that familiar with the Jewish culture. I mean, maybe they don't have a lot of Jewish friends or close Jewish friends, so they're not familiar with the Jewish culture. And sometimes they say, well, they're in the Middle East, and the Palestinians in the Middle East, and they're just one country next to another country, and they're both trying to fight over this one piece of land. Well, it's a lot more complicated than that. And I think Elon Musk learned his lesson today. We went over there and saw evidence of the October the 7th Torah, and it was Torah. And one thing he mentioned that probably he didn't realize before is that these people from Hamas, I'm not saying all the Palestinians, but the majority of Palestinians probably feel the same way, I'm sorry to say, but especially Hamas, they're very joyful, very happy when they kill Jews. Nothing makes them any happier. That's the whole reason to be for them. The whole raison d'etre, the whole reason why they're alive is to kill a Jew. Of course, they say they want the land from the river to the sea, but of course, to do that, they have to kill all the Jews, right? So that really makes them happy, For me, it's, a nice big steak, or a nice turkey dinner, but not for them. They're happy killing Jews. And really, they grow up like this. And how people can be raised on such hate, it's unbelievable. The Germans were like that too, right? But they came about that way through Hitler. They weren't always that way, but it seems like these zealots, these terrorists from Islam are always brought up on this hate for the Jew, which is unfortunate because I'm sure not all Muslims are like that. And they're good Muslims, and I have nothing against the religion. I have nothing against. Hey, they're our cousins. I'm a Jew, so we see the Muslims as our cousin. In fact, we feel in some ways closer to Muslims than we do to Christians in some way. Maybe it depends on the era you live in, but one thing, a Jew can go into a mosque because there's no statues. If a Jew goes into a church, if he's religious, he really doesn't want to go into a church because they have a lot of times they have statues of Jesus or something which they see as an idol. So, but, Islam, there's no pictures, there's no statues, so they don't have any problem going into a mosque. So they feel closer in that relationship. But the whole thing about Islam that makes it so bad is it's a perversion, in my opinion, a perversion of what came before. They like to think it's the last vision from Muhammad, the last truth, and there's nothing else after that. But me as a Jew, I see it as, I sort of perverted it a little. But, hey, you believe in what you want to believe. I'm not preaching. I'm not saying, heaven forbid, not everybody wants to believe like I do. And one thing, Jews don't believe that you have to be Jewish or you have to believe as a Jew to be saved, to be redeemed. You know, in Islam, everybody has to be a Muslim or you're going to hell. And the same thing with Christians. A lot of Christians anyway believe if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell. The Jews are the only religion among those three that says as long as you're a righteous person, you can believe in whatever you want to believe. You know what I mean? I mean, hopefully you believe in one God mainly. But, you know, as long as you're a decent person, a righteous person, you know, you have a share in the world to come. But Islam and Christianity don't see it that way often. So just making a, you know, analysis between the three religions. But if you could just take away the hate from the zealots among the Muslims, it would be a relief for us Jews. We just want to live in peace. And really, the Jews have the moral high ground in this whole war. It's obviously they have the high ground. They just want to live in peace, and the religious want to worship God in peace, and, you know, study their Torah, and they would love to have nice neighbors. They would love to have nice neighbors, and they've tried so many times to have the Palestinians as nice neighbors, even though there was never really a Palestinian state. You know, before Palestine, well, actually, Palestine came up with the Romans. After the Romans kicked out the Jews, they called the place Palestine, and then it was, you know, the Jews left, and then, although there's always been Jews there for 3,000 years, they're definitely their homeland, and that's the only homeland they've ever known. If you read it in the Old Testament, that Jerusalem is mentioned all the time. All you got to do is read the Old Testament and see how close they are to the land of Israel. You remember they came out of Egypt, right? You know the story. And they had to go into the, you know, with Moses died on the mountain. He couldn't go in because he kicked the rock or something. What happened? Yeah, he was supposed to open the rock for water, and he took a stick and he hit the rock because he didn't have enough faith just by saying, you know, open up rock and here comes the water, right? So for him, that was a big, since he was such a wise, righteous person, so close to God, it was a sin for him, and for that reason, the sages say he wasn't allowed to go into the Holy Land. So, Holy Land meaning Israel, right, the land of Israel. But Joshua went in, and you know the story. Joshua took it over, and there were people there, idol worshippers, and yeah, God said you can take the land, take it from the idol worshippers, because if you believe in God, you realize He's the only power, the only influence in the universe. And He says that He is a jealous God. Okay, so. If you created everything, I mean, if you were God, look, if you created everything, you created man, you create the whole atmosphere, you create the stars, the cosmos, the earth, the animals, the people, everything. It comes from you. And then they don't appreciate you. I mean, you would be pissed too, right? So He just wants people to recognize, you know, that he made everything. That's all, you know, as simple as that. And the Jews follow it rigorously because they have a certain code of ethics. It's called the Torah. You know, the Ten Commandments is part of that, but it's, for the Jews, a lot more than that because they followed all the laws in the Old Testament. And, you know, and then Christianity came around and did away with a lot of the laws, thanks to Paul. But that, you know, that's another story. But, you know, so the Jews have always been in that part of the planet. They've been on that. That's the Holy Land for them. Okay, where else are they going to go? You know, if you kick them out, if they kick out the Jews from the river, where else are they going to go? Back to Germany? They tried that once. I mean, they didn't come here, but even in here right now, right? I mean, a lot of Jews feel safer in Israel, even with the war, than anywhere else right now, with all the anti-Semitism going around. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on the Jewish question for right now. So let's play a little more music. How about that?
Devils in the jungle, and we find in trouble, kidnapping children for the warlord.
You're on the Robert Jeter Show, News and Blues. Another little song I done did called Innocent Children. And the children, they really get it. Don't you feel sorry for the children today growing up in this world? Tell me why somebody innocent
handmade electrons, all it's gone. Within his religion, to make a decision to take the life of the innocent one. Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why. Somebody innocent children. Tell me why, baby. Tell me why. Tell me why. Suffer the innocent children.
A sign of the times, check out the vibe and the rhymes. Just look at the crimes against humanity. This is insanity. Look at the children that cry. Look at the people that die. I'm constantly asking them why. The innocent blood on the wall when children they fall is killing us all. But we cannot live illusion. Be wary divine retribution. Cause light will prevail over darkness, good over evil. They are not equal. There will not be a sequel. I speak on behalf of the people. When redemption comes, it comes precision like putting a record to needle. The war takes place in your mind. Gotta hurry up, run it out of time. If we're looking for peace, we will find. Let the children rise up and fly. Calamity that's on the TV. Sick and tired of what we see. Let the young ones go be free. In a world where love is the key.
Why the innocent suffer and never be known? You can't pretend that you live alone.
Thanks for listening. Again, this is Robert Jeter on the News and the Blues. Or the Blues and the News. See you next time.
Someday